everybody.
Morning.
Try it again. Good morning, everybody. How are you?
Good morning.
First of all, I want to say thank you to all those that worked so hard to bring about union recognition and rights and justice at the colleges around here, SOAS and Birkbeck, and also the campaign that was supported by students and many other people to bring the cleaning services back in-house. Their departments that they should never have left. And so it is about cleaners' rights and decent pay and conditions that are so important. And this election campaign is about our future and the kind of rights we have in our society. Last night there was a programme on television which demonstrated the appalling levels of child poverty in Britain. Millions of children growing up not really getting enough to eat, not getting the life chances they deserve, and as a result underachieving in school. And poverty is such a waste in society. So our manifesto, which has been carefully costed and thought out, does a great deal to change this, because it is about poverty, which essentially comes down to wages. And so under a Labour government we will increase wages. The minimum wage will become a living wage of £10 an hour from 2020. And I think that is a very that will include young workers in that as well. But it's also about rights at work. Rights to take your employer to a tribunal if you feel you're being unjustly treated, the rights to union representation. And at the moment there's a very long period before you actually have access to legal rights at work. That will end. We will bring in legislation to ensure that there are full rights at work from day one of your employment. And so that to me is a very, very important. Maternity leave is something that took a long time to campaign for before it was finally achieved. And when it was achieved, it's actually not adequate. We will increase maternity leave to 1 year for all mothers and or caring parents. And we will also introduce, welcome guys, come along, come along. You can let them manoeuvre the banner into somewhere over here.
Yes, please.
You want to keep it there. And there's other questions of rights at work that have to be dealt with. There are 1 million people. Welcome UCU. Well done your campaign, I'll come to that in a moment. But there are 1 million people in Britain that are on 0 hours contract at work. That means they do not know what their income is going to be from 1 week to the next. The employer holds all the aces in their relationship. Many of you would have read, if not experienced, the way in which construction workers in the past were treated, or the way in which dock workers were treated, where those that wanted work would go along to the dock gates in the morning, wait around there until an employer came along and offered them a day's labour. If they were known to be activists in a trade union or activists in their community, they did not get a day's work. And they have no guarantee of 1 day's work another to follow another. Exactly the same applied for construction workers. There was a time in Camden Town, not so far away from here, when lots of building workers would queue up outside the station and wait for an employer to drive by and possibly offer them a day's labouring. They'd be put in a van, taken away to do that day's labouring, paid at the end of the day, and that was it. They had no guarantee what their income would be, no guarantee they could pay their rent, feed their children, or live a normal, decent life. I thought those days were over when legislation was brought in to outlaw those kind of practices. In reality, a 0 hours contract where you spend the whole day staring at your mobile phone, hoping for a text message that's going to give you a few hours of work somewhere else, is not really any different. It's just the technology that's different. So we will end 0 hours contracts once and for all as soon as we're elected into office. We need to rebalance things in this country. There is too much inequality. There are 150 billionaires, and there are several million children and families living in poverty and in insecurity. Students who go to university end up with massive debts, and as a result spend years trying to pay them off, and obviously that counts against any preparation we want anywhere else for the future. These things are not necessary, they're not acts of God, they're acts made by government decisions. And so our whole programme is about instituting a charter for workers' rights, which we're launching today, and Laura Pidcock, our minister, our shadow minister, has been around all the studios this morning explaining that. We will bring in a new ministry, a Ministry of Employment Rights, a Department of Employment Rights, and they will have the powers and inspection to go into companies to make sure A, the gender pay gap is being addressed, B, there are no zero-hours contracts, and there are full rights at work from day one of employment. These things matter and give people real chances and real hope and real opportunities in our society. And so, over the last 10 days or so of this election campaign, no doubt an awful lot is going to be thrown at us about our manifesto, the pledges in it, and the costs within it. I simply say this: when everything is done and dusted in our manifesto, and it will be, we will more or less reach the level of public services of France or Germany. That is how far behind we've got in this country by all these years of neoliberal economics and the idea that trickle-down economics works. Some or other, if we've got a lot of wealthy people, the rest of the population benefit. It doesn't work like that. So we will invest in the National Education Service, we will invest 26 billion within our health service, and we will institute rights at work from day one and give recognition to trade unions and sectoral bargaining across all industries. This seems to me to be just a sensible way forward, which will improve the life chances of so many people in this country. Today, Donald Trump has arrived in Britain. I saw it because his convoy went past my house last night. So I know he's here. And we welcome all visitors, and we should always treat people with respect and politeness. But I very gently and quite simply, but extremely firmly, say this: in any trade deal with the United States, with the Labour government, public services will not be put on the table. Our NHS will not be put up for sale. Because public services are there for a reason. They're not there to be sold off to international firms that want to come in and run our NHS. And for those in college and university, I say this: we want people to go to college, we want people to go to university, we want apprenticeships to be equally valued as degrees. But we also want the staff to be properly treated and properly valued.
Yes.
The organiser for the National Union of Public Employees, a forerunner of Unison. In those days, our colleagues in what is now the UCU were people that we looked up to. We said, wow, they've got good contracts, they've got permanent jobs, and they've got pensions and everything like that, when I was part of a campaign to get permanent contracts and permanent jobs for catering and cleaning workers in colleges and schools and universities. And now college lecturers are treated in exactly the same way as many others, with zero-hours contracts, with multiplicity of contracts, with term time only contracts, and a lack of security of their work. And so I'm absolutely with the UCU on its campaign. Well done on your campaign, and well done for the joint activities between all the unions in the colleges and universities. Colleges and universities should be a place of the best quality employment and the best level of security for those staff, and students who don't have to go into massive debt in order to go to university. Our programme is there. It's been written by hundreds of thousands of people in our party and the trade unions. I'm very proud of all of what's in our manifesto, and determined we shall carry it out. So in this last 10 days of the election campaign, when you vote, you're voting to create a society that's fit for the next generation. You're voting for a society that will be just and fair. You're voting for a society that values its public services and those that work in those public services. And you're voting to challenge the whole issue that we can do nothing about the climate crisis. Yes, we can. We will invest in a green industrial revolution to environmental changes in our society and better security for all of us through the green energy jobs that we'll be creating. So let's go out there and win in this election. Let's go out and win for the cleaners, win for the teachers, win for the students, win for the next generation, and for society.